Marketer of the Day number 412. Gain clarity, self-love, confidence, and unshakable belief in your future with Adele Brimâge. Hey everyone, and thanks for listening. We're talking right now with Adele Brimâge, and Adele is a transformational life coach. She's a writer and a speaker, and her mission is to help as many women and visionary men gain clarity on what their current mindset is producing and how they can easily change it. To have self-love, confidence, and unshakable self-belief so they can no longer feel stuck or play small in their life or their business. So Adele, glad to be talking to you.
Yeah, lovely to be talking to you too, Robert.
So yeah, and even with all our obstacles, like my computer crashed right before, and then we couldn't get the audio figured out, and then we had to call you on the phone, but we're here, we're going to have a lot of fun. So can you kind of tell us, in your own words, what you have going on these days and what you're most passionate about?
Well, for the last couple of months, I haven't been doing anything. I've been doing some things that I have never given myself permission to do ever in my life, and that was take care of me. And the reason I've done that is, in June this year, I had a full knee replacement operation. And so I had to take some time out. So it's taken me a couple of months, but now I'm getting back and I'm moving forward. So I'm hoping to be doing some events next year. And I'll definitely be telling you about them. And I'll be putting them on my Facebook and everywhere. And I'm looking forward to having more mobility than I've had in the last few years.
Okay, great. Yeah, I can imagine that could be pretty frustrating with all the recovery and having to lay around and not really like being at your best self. And so so now that you're kind of ramping back up, you're back in the game. Can you tell us like what your niche is and what kind of things you talk about and what sort of things you do?
Well, the thing I talk about is your mindset, because if you have the right mindset, you can create amazing results in your life and in your business. And so I work predominantly with women, but I do work with men as well. And I help them to get clear on what they really, truly want to create. And then we look at the belief systems that they hold, and we see, are any of the belief systems that they hold stopping them from creating the results they want to see in their life? Because as you clearly know, I'm sure you know, Robert, I'm sure all the people listening to this will know, that every belief you have creates a thought. Your thoughts all come from your beliefs. And the thoughts that you think produce the emotions that you feel. And that's what creates the either actions or inactions that you take. And it's from all of that you create your life. And so I help women to get really clear about what it is they want to create, how they remove the blocks that may be standing in their way, and how they can create a mindset that sets them up for sustainable results over and over and over again in any area of their life.
Well, that sounds like a great thing to have, right? To be able to not have all these things hold us back and to have that freedom and create the life that we want. And so you say that some people have maybe toxic beliefs of some kind that are just, incorrect or aren't good or don't fit with the place that they want to go. And so do you see any sort of like common beliefs, or in your travels when you deal with people over and over, do you see like any like just repeat beliefs that people seem to have wherever you go?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest belief systems that I say over and over again, and I know for a long time in my life, I held this belief, which is why I recognize it when I say it, and that's that they're not good enough. And if you hold that belief system that you're not good enough, it prevents you from doing so many different things in your life. It prevents you from finding your ideal partner, going for your ideal job, because along with the belief system, I'm not good enough, comes lots of other little beliefs, like I'm not smart enough, I'm not happy enough, I'm not thin enough. There's so many other beliefs that tag in to the I'm not enough belief systems. And I think one of the things that happens is that the beliefs that you hold sometimes are stored in your subconscious mind. And so many times women say to me, no, there isn't a toxic belief there. There isn't a limiting belief. It's just who I am. And they're absolutely correct, Robbie. It is who they are, but it's not who they're meant to be. It's who they are because forever they've adopted a belief system when they were really young and they don't even know they've got it. And they're doing life according to this belief that's inside. It's a bit like if you have a computer and you put a program into your computer and the program is just ticking along in the background, but there's something wrong with the program, then the results you get when you switch on your computer, a bit like you tonight, are not going to be right. And you don't know. You know there's something wrong with the computer, but you don't know what the problem is. And all the time it's this program that's running in the background. And your subconscious mind is a bit like that. It's always there. It's always running. And your subconscious mind is there to protect you. And so when you try to do something different that steps you out of your comfort zone, it goes, no, this isn't safe. Let's move backwards. And so that can be a thing that can stop you from moving forward again and again and again. And it's quite easy, once you know what you're doing, to remove the beliefs that no longer serve you and support you and install some really good beliefs that can really enhance where you want to be in life, what you want to do, and create a life that you would just love to live, that ignites you every single day.
Great. And so, and that whole thing of kind of just over time slowly being boxed in or slowly ending up in this pattern of knowing something's wrong, not sure what it is, being stuck, being hung up, not taking enough action. I think that, a lot of us can relate to that, and a lot of that seems pretty dang scary. And so you said a lot in there that I think was really important, that kind of gives us a lot to chew on there, that some people say that they're not good enough, which then bleeds over into I'm not smart enough, not happy enough, not thin enough. And then people say, well, this isn't some external thing. This is who I am. And you say, well, yes, it is, but it's not who we're meant to be. And it sounds like it's a result of our subconscious wants us to stay out of danger. And so we have that comfort zone where anytime we go and we're about to do something risky or new or exciting, that subconscious thinks back to the caveman days and said, oh, don't go out in the jungle, don't go too far out, because then that's unsafe. And so I think that, we all have this problem. And I definitely, if I take my eye off the ball for too long and I forget to, do all the mindset stuff, then I definitely can fall into this as well. And so if we have those bad thoughts, so that negativity of thinking we're not good enough, I mean, how do we attack that? What's the first step to fixing that problem?
Well, I think the first step is realizing that you have a problem. And the way that you do that is, let's discuss money, because money seems to be one of them subjects that seems to apply to lots of people. Everybody wants more money. And I understand that because, it's the currency that we all live our lives and buy things and experience lots of things through. So if you have a problem with money, either you earn money but then you can't keep the money, you find it a real struggle to earn the money, you see other people and they seem to be doing it really easy, but you're really having a problem, then more than likely you have a belief system around money. Now, every single one of us has a money story. We have a way of looking at money. We either see it in a positive light, we see it as a tool to help us move our lives forward, or we sit with a mindset that's in lack. And the mindset that's in lack looks like, no matter how hard I work, I never make any more. As soon as I get it, it's gone. And there's lots of other things that we tell ourselves. But once you identify that there is a problem, you can then figure out where that problem started. Now, for most people with belief systems that are no longer serving them, limiting beliefs, I like to call them weeds in the garden of your mind, because they're a bit like a weed in your garden. They strangle all the good stuff that's up there, and they make you believe all the lies that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not good with money, that you can't have an amazing career, that you can't find your ideal partner, that you can't shed the weight and keep it off. There's so many lies that go along with these belief systems. But let's talk about the money one. So you have a belief system around money, and you have no problem earning money, but then you have a real problem holding on to money. So most of the beliefs that we hold, we created when we were a child. And we created them up to the age of about 6 or 7, before there was any filters. So we're like a little sponge, and we just absorbed and absorbed and absorbed. And we absorbed what was around us. And so that's more than likely your parents, your grandparents, your aunties and uncles, friends. And you don't know you're absorbing, and you don't know that you're hanging on to these belief systems, but you see what's happening around you. And so if there was ever problems in your family where money created lots of arguments, then you could take on a belief system. It's not good to have money because money means fighting. And not many people like to have arguments. If that doesn't resonate with you, then as soon as you get money, you let it go. But you don't know why you're letting it go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and it's sort of scary even, because like you would think that, well, money is money, it's just what it is. But then I can definitely relate to having because like I kind of had I had parents who didn't have a lot of money and sometimes had arguments about money, and then I definitely when I got older, it was like there was so much like emotion riding on the ups and downs that like I was trying to figure out for a couple of years there. I was like, well, is it if I'm happy, then the money comes in, or is it that the money's coming in because I'm happy? And I just noticed that it was just all kinds of, for like a couple of years, a lot of psyching myself out, where sometimes if I had a great product launch or something and a bunch of money came in, then I'd feel happy. But then all this other stuff would come in, like I'd feel kind of guilty about having that money, or I'd be like, now I have to go and do more work because I feel I didn't even know why. And then when things would be on the way down, or when a launch didn't do so well, then I'd wonder like, well, is it just me, or is this setting up a pattern of failure after failure coming up? And it's still sort of like, I think I'm better now at dealing with the money stuff, and it might have just been from dealing with all kinds of highs and lows. But I definitely time after time years ago just had this issue of either like the money just brought on more chaos or more emotions, and then I was trying to figure out like how are those things interrelated, and just driving myself crazy. So I mean, does that answer your question, or is that a pretty typical response there?
That's typical because as well as you thinking that it's not good to have money because you've seen all this arguments, you could believe like that as soon as you get it, there could be a fear there. As soon as you get it, it's going to go.
Oh yeah.
And you see, the thing is that the work I do with all of my clients is around the thoughts that they think, because I believe that your thoughts create your world. And everybody never has an experience that they haven't invited into their world. And sometimes that's really hard to get your head around. But there's a saying, isn't there, that if you think you will, you will, and if you think you won't, you won't. And that's actually true. And I believe that if you put out really good thoughts, then good stuff will come back to you. But the way you know if you're at one with yourself is your emotions. So if you're thinking stuff that really doesn't chime with who you are, then you'll feel that horrible, yicky, niggly feeling inside. And that means that you're at odds with who you really are. And so when you said just then, does the money come in when I'm happy? Yeah, because when you're happy, you've released any resistance to anything coming into your life. And sometimes we hold resistance and we don't even know there's a pattern of resistance there. And the pattern of resistance is generally in our money story. And so when people try and change any belief system, if they don't change it enough, if they just peck around the edges, they change some of it, but they don't change it enough to create a new outcome. Which is why it's really important to really figure out where the belief system came from. If it saves you, and if it doesn't save you, get rid of it. Create a new one. And then create new thoughts to sit around that belief system. Because it's no good changing a belief and then thinking the same thoughts or saying the same things. It's no good changing a belief to, the money story I've had for 20 years doesn't save me. I'm going to create a new one. This is the new one. Money flows easily to me. It's no good creating that belief system if then you spend your life thinking lackful thoughts, like there just isn't enough to pay for that. I would do that if I could have afforded it. There's no point because you're at odds. So if you're going to change your belief system, you then have to change the thoughts that you're thinking. And you have to also change the language that you say to yourself, not just to other people, to yourself. Because most people have that gremlin, that voice in their heads that chatters, that says, no, you can't do this. Why are you even bothering? You know it's going to be a waste of time. You know you're never going to manage to do what you want to do. You're never going to get that job, whatever it may be. And so quietening that voice is really important. And a really good way of doing that is reinforcing the beliefs in the language that you use every single day. And that's sometimes where people find it challenging because we all have a pattern of behavior and of thinking because we've been doing it for so long. It's like an old friend. It feels comfy, even sometimes when you feel really at odds with yourself. There's comfort there because you know that feeling. Most people have been having that feeling for a long time. So even though you don't want it and you don't like it, it feels familiar. And sometimes it's more scary and more challenging to completely adopt a new way of thinking and a new thought processes and new language than it is to sit in that feeling that you really don't want, but you just keep producing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is making a lot of sense, and it's making a lot of different connections for me, especially in some of the things that you said as we just started getting talking here, that some people, maybe like a common mistake is to go through these steps here and say, all right, well, my actions and my thoughts up until now have led me to here, but I want to be better, so I'm going to make this new belief. And then some people, they just put the belief there, but they just pay it lip service and they don't actually apply it. So they made some kind of declaration, or they chose to, have this affirmation or whatever. But then when it comes to living their day-to-day life, if they don't take that seriously and they just let the gremlin, like you said, or the negative voice, the negative self-talk get in there, then nothing's going to change. What's the difference there? And the real danger, it sounds like, is that long term, by keeping up this pattern, this habit, then it'll just be kind of like comfortably being miserable, and things aren't quite great, but things aren't quite bad, and it's scary, or it's more work, or it's uncomfortable to make this change, even though there'd be a great result, but that result is not very certain. So then, without even realizing it, we just kind of stay in this comfortably miserable area, and we don't make any kind of improvement, and even maybe even from longer and longer time, maybe we tell ourselves that it's okay, or that this is what we're supposed to do, which sounds like it leads to all this other crazy stuff. And so it's one thing to say, change your thoughts, change your language, but how do people go about doing that, especially if there's that nagging voice that we've had in our head for years and years telling us that we're not good enough, or telling us not to do something? How do we go about correcting that?
Well, there's lots of ways you can do, but I mean, when you were just talking there, it made me think about how many people work from the default setting. So many people have belief systems about things that they just say as a matter of course, and they believe. So if you said, actually, is that the truth, they'd argue for their limitations. And so a really, really common one is life is hard. That's a common belief that a lot of people have. But actually, your life is supposed to be happy. You weren't put on this earth to suffer. You were put on this earth to have happiness, to fulfill all your dreams, all your desires. And the only thing that ever gets in the way is you. Because you're the author of the book called your life. You write every single chapter of that book with your thoughts, with your beliefs and your thoughts and your actions and your emotions. Emotions are massive. But most people have that common belief and they argue for it and they don't know, life's just hard. And so when you say, well, actually, it doesn't have to be that way, they don't understand that, because in their head, that's how it's always been. That's how it's always going to be. And so one of the things, if you are sitting there and you're thinking, actually, I'm not creating the results I really want in my life, and I really do want to make a difference, is to identify the beliefs that you have. So write down some of the common things that you say on a regular basis, just like life is hard. All the things that you commonly say to yourself or you hear yourself saying to others, and then take a really good look at them. Where does that belief stem from? Did you hear your mum and dad say many times, life is hard, money doesn't grow on trees, life's a struggle? Who did you hear? How did that belief become embedded in you? Because you take it that that's the truth, but that's a lie. That's not the truth. And yet you argue for it. Most people argue for it. And so I'm here to tell you, your life is supposed to be amazing. And if you want an amazing life, you need to start looking at the beliefs that you hold. And you need to clearly start to be in tune with the thoughts that you think. Now, we have so many thoughts every single day, more thoughts through our subconscious mind than our conscious mind. Thousands and thousands and thousands. And trying to keep a track of them is impossible. You just couldn't do it. But you can listen to your emotions. We all have emotions. We all either feel happy or sad. And a whole range of emotions in between. And so if you get to a point in the day when you're thinking, oh, I'm not feeling so good, tap into that. Why is that? Why is that? Take that as your body saying to you, something's not right here. Why am I feeling like that? If you've had a conversation with somebody and after the conversation you feel not right, how could that have been done different? Why are you feeling like this? There's a whole host of things that you can do to rectify this, and they're not difficult, but they do mean you have to commit. I've been doing this a long time, and each and every day I continue to do this because I know the power that this holds. So many years ago, I was in a very abusive relationship. And when I left that relationship, I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what I liked. And I realized after many years of leaving that relationship that actually I created the drama within that relationship. Now, there's no way I asked for anybody to hit me. But what I did through the thoughts that I thought constantly because of the drama was I asked for it to stop. And I can remember many, many times saying, please end this, I just want this to stop. Now, the universe is really good and it works one way. And it brings you whatever you think about. So it brought me exactly what I thought about. it brought me more chaos, it brought me more drama, it brought me more pain. And now, I didn't actually go out and ever say, I want more pain, but because it responds to your emotions, to the thoughts that you're thinking, and predominantly my thoughts were all around pain and drama and anguish, that's what I got. And so that's why understanding your belief systems is so important, because it's from your belief systems that you create your thoughts, and it's from your thoughts that you create your emotions. And so if there's a belief system within you that says life is bad, and the thoughts that you're thinking are that, and the emotions are, yeah, it's a struggle, it's hard, what do you think you're going to create more of, Robbie? You're going to create more hardship in your life. You're going to actually create more of what you don't want. And so the reason I told you about the struggle I had is to emphasize really that this can change, because my life changed. Once I started to understand how this worked, once I started to really actively create my life from my thoughts, the thoughts I chose, my life changed, but nothing changed on the outside until I changed on the inside. You see, lots of times people think that to change, you have to change the external, but the internal has to change before the external can. And that's just the way it works. And this stuff really does work. Does that explain?
Yeah, you've given us a ton to chew on right there, a ton to unpack there, and what I'm hearing a lot from your advice today is a lot of it sounds like it's coming from a place of abundance. Like a lot of people have the problem of saying, I don't have enough, or I don't have this. They're focusing on the lack, and that sort of thing just reminds me, like if I'm driving, like I was driving my car a few weeks ago up a mountain. And when you go up those like windy roads and there's no guardrail, and you look over out off the cliff and it looks super beautiful, but you don't want to look out there, because if you did, then you drive your car in the direction that you're looking. So a lot of people, it sounds like, if they're focusing on the negative, then it just leads to this vicious cycle of just the same thing over and over, and then leading in the direction of the thing they don't want, because they're focusing on that thing they don't want. And I really like that exercise that you gave us of listing down those sort of cliches, those limiting beliefs, those things that we keep saying about money that are holding us back. Make that list, and then looking at it and asking, where did that come from? Who said it? And how did that get into my head? And I really like that, because I've heard of like a sort of exercise where if you have this negative self-talk, to identify like one thing, and then try to look at like the evidence of like, if you always say, there's never enough money or something like that, then look at, is this always true, or are these times when they could be true? And that sort of worked. But I really like your exercise here of making just like a list of multiple things, and then drilling down, and not just saying like, well, what's the evidence of this, but drilling down to where this came from, what was put into me in my head at an early age, so that way I can get to the root of the problem and not just attacking it on the surface. So all this is super great stuff, and these are all things that I think entrepreneurs everywhere need to hear about, especially if things have been difficult for them, if they've had doubts, struggles, which we all have. And I also like how you mentioned that you in there that you stay on top of this, and you keep going back to this, because what's the point of knowing this sort of information once and then forgetting about it forever? Important to keep on applying it. And so we're kind of starting to go over time here, and I want to make sure that everyone knows all about you and all your amazing stuff. So can you tell us about what sort of books or websites or offers you have out there?
Yeah, my website is adelebrimage.com. And I have a Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com/AAUPPGS. And I also have a free ebook for your listeners. If you go to www.adelebrimage.com /love yourself, all one word, all lowercase, there's an ebook, because one of the big things that I believe is that lots of people, one of the big things that's connected to you're not enough, is that not many people love themselves. Somehow they get this foolish notion that if you love yourself, you're big-headed, you're boastful, it's not the right thing to do. But actually loving yourself is the foundation to you being the person you're meant to be. And lots of times we put lots of other people in front of us, and the person that should always be the top of your list is you. So if any of your listeners would like to have that, it's my gift to you today.
Super great. Well, thanks for providing that gift. So everyone listening, make sure that you go and grab that gift. That's at adelebrimage.com/love yourself. So that's ADELEBRIMAGE.com/love yourself. And then while you're there, and after you grab that free ebook, make sure that you go to adelebrimage.com and check out what she has, and be sure to connect with her at facebook.com/AAUPPGS. And on that Facebook thing, Adele, I mean, is there a reason why that's named what it is, or what will they find there when they go and check you out on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm always posting. I'm always posting quotes and helpful tips, to help people move forward. And if anybody ever comments, I'm, only too happy to get back to them and help them with anything they need. But the reason it's called AAU, the AAU, is it's all about you.
Perfect. I love it. That's catchy. It's all about you. So make sure you check out.
It's all about you.
Awesome. So if you've been getting held back, then maybe it's from some of these things that we talked about today. If it's not having an abundance mindset, or not feeling good about yourself, or not loving yourself, or any of those things, you need to be checking this out. And it's easy these days to see all the negativity that finds its way to you on the internet, on Facebook, and email. So why not put something from the other side there? Why not put some of the positive stuff there to balance it out, or maybe even overtake the negativity that finds its way to you from other people, or from life in general? Why not be a good person, a happy person, instead of this miserable negative person? So make sure to check out facebook.com/AAUPPGS and adelebrimage.com/love yourself. And thanks, Adele, for stopping by and sharing all this great information, all this great stories. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, have a brilliant day.
Please subscribe, rate, and review our show at marketeroftheday.com/iTunes, and like us on Facebook at marketeroftheday.com/Facebook.